Tux Takes.
All right, Ross. We'll start with Bengals running back Joe Mixon being recharged with aggravated menacing by Cincinnati police.
Just not good. Not a good look for Joe. The fact that they recharged him would tell you that they feel like they have sufficient evidence to be able to get a conviction here. I think most of you remember, if you don't, but Mixon had some off the field issues in college at Oklahoma, which is one reason why he didn't get drafted as high as he thought he would. And, to my knowledge, I think he had done the right thing and not gotten in trouble at all as a Bengal until now, which, by the way, really poor timing because I think he's scheduled to make a good chunk of money, and it feels like his production has dropped off.
Tux Takes.
Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons gets a well-deserved new payday, getting a 4-year, $96 million deal.
Unreal. What is that, like $23.5 million a year? Good for him. This is big news, actually. This is big news for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, it's big news because he's now the Titans, other than Tannehill, highest paid player. He's the second highest paid defensive tackle now in the NFL behind Aaron Donald. And as important as anything, he's their best player. I mean, he's the Tennessee Titans' best player. They need him to be performing at a high level. And there was some thought that maybe he would, go somewhere else. Maybe they would trade him. He was not happy. He had unfollowed them on various social media platforms. But I really think Rand Carthon, the new GM for the Titans, recognizes, look, he's our best player. And if one of my first moves as GM is to send the message that we're going to reward our guys, we're going to take care of our guys that perform well with Tennessee Titans, then I'm going to do it. He plays a premier position. I think you could argue the second most important position in the NFL behind quarterback, and he's awesome. If they don't get paid, who should get paid? And he certainly didn't want to make the same mistake that John Robinson made with A.J. Brown, which cost him his job. So there was a whole host of reasons why the Titans went ahead and signed Jeffrey Simmons to this big money deal.
Tux Takes.
The biggest news happened last night with the Ravens signing wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year deal with $15 million guaranteed and up to $3 million more available in incentives.
Yep. And I've got a few things to say about this one, Jack, to say the least. So this will be our Labatt Blue take of the week. It's presented by Labatt Blue Light, of course, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. This absolutely has to have something to do with Lamar Jackson. Probably a lot to do with Lamar Jackson. $15 million fully guaranteed for a guy who will be 31, has torn his ACL twice in the last 3 years, has 856 yards receiving in the last 3 years, and didn't play last year at all. I mean, even the top free agents this year, not a great free agent market, but the top free agent wide receivers who played and were productive last year got $11 million a year, but they had to commit themselves to their new teams for at least 3 years. Jacoby Myers, Lazard, Juju, $15 million fully guaranteed. And you know how I know it has something to do with Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson posts a FaceTime picture on Instagram of him and Odell Beckham Jr., which, by the way, probably, like, what happened to your trade request, Lamar? Probably not real good look for your trade demand that you're posting a pic excited with OBJ being a Raven. But that's another story. The point is that's even more proof that I really believe the Ravens way overpaid Odell Beckham Jr. Maybe the worst contract I've ever seen the Ravens give out. They did it because they obviously think this will help them get Lamar Jackson signed, or at least get him to play for them this year. There's no other explanation.
Interesting point of note on that. In that picture that the Ravens also did tweet out themselves, Lamar is wearing a Ravens chain in that picture. Something interesting.
Ravens chain?
Yeah, like a giant with like the Ravens, like the shield with like the B and the flag and whatever. But yeah, it's a giant chain of that. So interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, his trade request was just to get more money, which is fine. But yes, I mean, I've never seen the Ravens give out a contract like this. I've never seen like $15 million fully guaranteed for. I wouldn't give him half that. I mean, it's just brutal. Anyway, I think we have time, Jack, for an email, which we haven't gotten to in a while. Let's get to an email question.
Ever wanted to ask an NFL player a question? Well, here's your chance. It's time to Ask Ross.
Email address is ross@rosstucker.com. Love when you guys take advantage of any of our sponsors. Then send me an email question. What do you got?
So this is from Robert Hatto, Hatto. He asks, did you wear knee braces as a high school, college, or professional football player? The top high school offensive linemen and college players, for example, Michigan's offensive line, always seem to wear knee braces. Why do you so seldom see that in the pros? What is your opinion?
Well, the difference is in college, they can make it mandatory. In the NFL, they can't. So in college, a lot of colleges make it mandatory that their players wear the knee braces because those things have shown to do a really good job of preventing the MCL sprains that happen a lot. Happened to me twice. I tore my right MCL all the way, third degree, second to last game against Yale, my junior year of college. And then my rookie year in the NFL with Washington in a goal line drill, I had a grade 2 sprain of my right knee, my right MCL. So that's a very real thing that can happen. And so especially the MCL sprains, those knee braces help. And the colleges feel like it's worth it to be able to have, even if players don't like them and players feel like they limit their mobility a little bit and they make them just a little bit less fluid. Colleges do it because they don't want to lose guys for 2 to 4 weeks or 3 to 6 weeks or whatever. I'm sure NFL teams would prefer if some of their guys wore them, but it's interesting. This whole thing, I didn't wear one in college. I don't think I've ever worn one. Oh, I take that back. I wore one when I came back to play as a rookie after I tore it. I came back in a preseason game, a couple of preseason games, and I was wearing that knee brace. But that's the difference, Robert. Good question. Really good question. And that is the answer. And that is the end of a Monster Monday. Make sure you're speaking of offensive line. Make sure you check out today's college draft podcast with Emory. We're all over the offensive lineman, and I revealed my most unique physical trait on today's college draft podcast. So definitely check that out. How about some shout outs? MyFrontPageStory.com. We are a month away from Mother's Day. Do it. Do it. Rum and Coke. Do it. What movie is that? Like Starsky and Hutch or something? Rum and Coke. Do it. MyFrontPageStory.com. Do it. Do it. BackOfficeScheduler.com. Evergreen Economics. Go-Bengals.com. SteakhouseSports.com. HumanHeadNYC.com. Sporticulture. Pizza Boy Brewing. We got some Even Money podcast brewing tomorrow. And of course, we want you guys to go ahead and listen to that or watch it on youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.